Hello and welcome to part 2 of the text reading of the chapter Going Places. I'm on page number 81. Please open the book and listen to me while I read. The table lamp cast an amber glow or an orange-yellow light across Sophie's brother's, that is Geoff's, bedroom wall, and across the large poster of United's first team squad and the row of coloured photographs beneath, 3 of them of the young Irish prodigy, Casey. "Promise you will tell no one," Sophie said. "Nothing to tell is there," Geoff said. "Promise, Geoff, Dad would murder me." "Only if he thought it was true." "Please, Geoff." "Cry, Sophie, you're still at school. Casey must have strings or lines of girls." "No, he does not," Sophie said. "How could you know that?" He jeered or laughed. "He told me, that is how." "As if anyone would tell a girl something like that," Geoff said. "Yes, he did. He isn't like that. He is quiet." "Not as quiet as all that, apparently." "It was nothing like that, Geoff," Sophie said. "It was me spoke first. When I saw who it was, I said, 'Excuse me, but aren't you Danny Casey?' And he looked sort of surprised, and he said, 'Yes, that's right.' And I knew it must be him because he had the accent, like when they interviewed him on the television. So I asked him for an autograph for little Derek. But neither of us had any paper or a pen. So then we just talked a bit about the clothes and Royce's window. He seemed lonely. After all, it's a long way from the west of Ireland. And then, just as he was going, he said if I would care to meet him next week, he would give me an autograph then. Of course I said I would." Geoff said, "As if he would ever show up." "You do not believe me now, don't you?" Sophie said. Geoff dragged his jacket, which was shiny and shapeless, from the back of the chair and pushed his arms into it. Sophie wished he paid more attention to his appearance, wished he cared more about clothes. He was tall, with a strong dark face, handsome, Sophie thought. "It's the unlikeliest thing I have ever heard," Geoff said. On Saturday, Sophie's family made their weekly pilgrimage to watch United, that is, the football match. Sophie and her father and little Derek went down near the goal. Geoff, as always, went with his mates higher up. United won 2-0 and Casey drove in the second goal, a blend of innocence and Irish genius, going round the 2 big defenders on the edge of the penalty area, with her father screaming for him to pass and beating the hesitant goalkeeper from a dozen yards. Sophie glowed with pride. Afterwards, Geoff was ecstatic. "I wish he was an Englishman," someone said on the bus. "Ireland will win the World Cup," little Derek told his mother when Sophie brought him home. Her father was gone to the pub to celebrate. "What's this you have been telling?" Jansie said. "Next week." "About what?" Sophie asked. "Your Geoff told our Frank you met Danny Casey." This wasn't an inquisition or a series of questions, just Jansie being nosy or too much interested in other people's affairs. But Sophie was startled. "Oh, that?" Jansie frowned, sensing she was covering. "Yes, that." "Well, yes, I did." "You never did," Jansie exclaimed. Sophie glared or angrily looked at the ground. "Damn that Geoff! This was a Geoff thing, not a Jansie thing. It was meant to be something special just between them, something secret. It wasn't a Jansie kind of thing at all," Sophie thought. "Tell gawky Jansie or physically awkward Jansie something like that, and the whole neighborhood would get to know it. Damn that Geoff! Was nothing sacred?" "It's a secret meant to be," Sophie said. "I'll keep a secret, Soph. You know that." Sophie continued. "I wasn't going to tell anyone. There will be a right old row or fight if my dad gets to hear about it." Jansie blinked. "A row? I would have thought he would be shoved as anything." Sophie realized that Jansie did not know about the date bit. Geoff hadn't told about that. Date means that she was about to meet Danny Casey again. Sophie breathed more easily. So Geoff had not let her down after all. He believed in her after all. After all, some things might be sacred. It was just a little thing really. I asked Danny for an autograph, but we hadn't any paper or a pen, so it was no good. How much had Geoff said? Jesus, Jansie said, I wish I would have been there. Of course, my dad did not want to believe it. You know, Jansie, what a misery my dad is. But the last thing I need is queues of people round our house asking him, what's all this about, Danny Casey? Oh, my dad will murder me. And you know, Jansie, how my mum gets when there's a row? Jansie said, hushed or quietly, you can trust me, Soph, you know that. After dark, Sophie walked by the canal, along a sheltered path lighted only by the glare or brightness of the lamps from the wharf or platform across the water. And the unceasing drone or the never-ending noise of the city was muffled, that is less loud and distant. It was a place Sophie had often played in when she was a child. There was a wooden bench beneath a solitary elm or a tree where lovers sometimes came. Sophie sat down to wait. It was the perfect place. She had always thought so, for a meeting of this kind. For what meeting? For her imaginary meeting between her and Danny Casey. Okay, students, let's continue. For those who wished not to be observed, she knew he would approve. For some time waiting, Sophie imagined Danny Casey coming. She watched along the canal, seeing him come out of the shadows, imagining her own consequent excitement. Not until some time had elapsed or passed did Sophie begin balancing against this the idea of his not coming. Here I sit, she said to herself, wishing Danny would come, wishing he would come and sensing the time passing. I feel the pangs of doubt or feelings of uncertainty stirring inside me. I watch for him, but still there is no sign of Danny. I remember Geoff saying Danny would never come, and how none of them believed me when I told them. I wonder what will I do? What can I tell them now if he does not come? But we know how it was, Danny and me. That's the main thing. How can you help what people choose to believe? But all the same, it makes me despondent or hopeless, this knowing I will never be able to show them that they are wrong to doubt me. Sophie waited, measuring in this way the changes taking place in her. Resignation was no sudden thing. Now I have become sad, she thought, and it is a hard burden to carry, this sadness. Sitting here waiting and knowing he will not come, I can see the future and how I will have to live with this burden. They of course will doubt me as they always doubted me, my family. But I will have to hold up my head, remembering how it was. Already I envisage or think about the slow walk home and Geoff's disappointed face when I tell him he did not come, that Danny. And then Geoff will fly out and slam the door. But we know how it was, I shall tell myself. Danny and me, it is a hard thing, this sadness. Sophie climbed the crumbling steps or the decaying stairs to the street. Outside the pub, she passed her father's bicycle, propped or supported against the wall, and was glad. At least her father would not be there when she got home. Excuse me, but aren't you Danny Casey? Coming through the arcade, she pictured him again outside Royce's window. He turns, that is, imaginary Danny turns, reddening slightly. Yes, that's right. I watch you every week with my dad and my brothers. We think you are great. Oh, well now, that's very nice, imaginary Danny would say. I wonder, would you mind signing an autograph? His eyes are on the same level as your own. His nose, that is Danny's nose, is freckled or spotted and turns upwards slightly. And when he smiles, he does so shyly, exposing teeth with gaps between. His eyes are green, and when he looks straight at you, they seem to shimmer. They seem gentle, almost afraid, like a gazelle's or an antelope's. And you look away. You let his eyes run over you a little, and then you come back to find them slightly breathless. And Danny says, I don't seem to have a pen at all. You realize you haven't either. My brothers will be very sorry, you say. You say means Sophie says. And afterwards, you wait there alone in the arcade for a long while, standing where he or Danny stood, remembering the soft melodious voice, the shimmer of green eyes, no taller than you, no bolder than you, the prodigy or the genius, the innocent prodigy, the great Danny Casey. And that is how Sophie saw it all again last Saturday, saw him ghost past the lumbering defenders or the responsible defenders, heard the 50,000 people catch their breath as Danny hovered or stayed in the air momentarily over the ball, and then the explosion of sound as he struck it crisply or sharply into the goal, the sudden thunderous eruption of exultant approbation or joyful praise. Oh God, such an imaginary chapter. And with this, we are done with the complete text reading of this fantasy-filled chapter called Going Places by A.R. Barton. If you loved my text reading, please like, share and subscribe my channel. This is Heena from Tell a Tale with Heena. Thank you.